What is up, my dudes? This is Trent with the Fantasy Football Dudes podcast. Today's episode, I have my Week 16 waiver wire ads, guys, and they are all below 56% rostered on Sleeper, the absolute best place to play fantasy football. Before we jump into that, guys, I just have a couple things I need to just get off my chest, clear the air, whatever it is you want to say. Was Week 15 the most upsets you've ever seen in fantasy football playoffs ever? I feel like, yes, it was, but I'm only in 7 leagues, so maybe it's not. Like I said, I had a really good setup. I was the number 1 seed in 3 leagues. I had the bye seed in 2 of those leagues. And let's just say I'm really happy that the teams left with Cooper Kupp. He got that performance out of the way, but the other one, not so well. So if you have Cooper Kupp, you're probably not watching this episode because you probably lost your matchup. And Thursday night football was just absolute foreshadowing to the whole entire week, in my opinion, outside of Josh Allen and, some other big performances, of course. But there was some weird games today. Like for sure, like Josh Allen, Bills, Lions, it lived up to the hype. Honestly, I think anytime the Bills play, I think it's must-watch football. It's game of the year-esque type games when they're playing. We had the Rams when they lost last week. This week versus the Lions, good game. I don't know what Dan Campbell was thinking, kicking the onside kick there. I'll be the first one to tell you that analytical guy is stupid. I don't like him. It was a guy who was bullied in high school, didn't even make the team. That's all besides the point. But what I'm saying here is, analytical guy might be right when it comes to onside kicks, especially nowadays. The onside kick is broken, especially since you have to announce it. It's not worth it. Dan Campbell, how you coach is where you've gotten to how you are. You are risky. You're a gambler. It works for you a lot. But since that onside kick, no one's talking about Skipper's TD, which was an amazing play, with Ben Johnson or whoever drew that up, throwing it to the big guy. Everybody likes it when the big guy scores, especially when you get to throw all those stats out there like he has more touchdowns than Trey McBride and all that stuff like that. But the onside kick, you can't do that. You can't give Josh Allen a short field because what is it? It's like a 7% chance you even get the onside kick. So now that they have, put kid gloves on the onside kick and made it nanny football, you can't do it anymore until they fix it, and I don't know how they fix it because, honestly, it was perfect. You can't get better than that. I know they want to do like the 4th and 15 or whatever. That's all off-season conversation. We do need to get in waiver wires. Everything is bookmarked in this episode, guys. Lots of upsets in my league. And just to check here, let me just get the X here real quick. See what the upsets were, because I put out a poll here on X because I just wanted to know if I was the only one. It's fresh. There's still, 23 hours left. Out of 61 votes, 73% of you said that there was an upset in your league. It wasn't just mine. So let's jump into the waiver wire ads, guys. I got my dud list at the end, so you won't want to miss that. That's all the guys that probably cost you your matchup, and you probably aren't listening to that. But if you won your matchup in an upset, you can bask in the glory for how stupid the guy was that played guys like Tua, who's been absolutely on fire. Can we all agree we miss Fat Tua? Fat Tua was so good. He was so good. And then Tyreek Hill started making the jokes about the Ozempic and all that stuff like that. And this is not an Ozempic ad, by the way, either. So let's move on with that. Things are getting awkward now. Give us a follow at TFF Dudes. Follow the Fantasy Farmer. Got all your fantasy football stuff there. I got sleepers. I answer start sits, all that good stuff. Head over to @X at TFF Dudes. Might be changing that username at some point, but for now it is TFF Dudes. All right, guys, let's jump into the waiver wire ads. I think I need to recap a little bit, but not too much, So this is early week 16 waiver wire ads. Monday Night Football has not happened yet. Sunday Night Football just ended. Starting with quarterbacks, ending with tight ends. So quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends. QB ads, guys. These are all below 56% on Sleeper. Like I said, Aaron Rodgers, 37% rostered. Had a good game 2 weeks ago versus the Jaguars. Had another good game today. Versus the Jaguars today. 3 TD passes. Maybe the Jets shouldn't have won that game. But I think Aaron Rodgers is doing enough that he's going to get to keep this job potentially next year if he can finish strong on the right foot. Maybe Devontae Adams stays. Maybe he doesn't. But with this matchup he has, LA Rams, we got an old NFC North rivalry matchup. at home, I believe is what it is. The Rams can score a lot of points. Maybe the Jets are forced to score a lot of points. Rodgers is playing decent football right now. If you don't want to play C.J. Stroud, you can play Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is actually ranked ahead of C.J. Stroud in season-long format in my league, of course. And so I got Aaron Rodgers, 37% rostered. These next two, a little more wild, okay? You might have to do something a little crazy to keep winning these games. I got Cooper Rush, guys. 10% rostered. Giving CD the ball a lot. That's what we need here. That's what Cowboy fans want. And the weird thing with the Cowboys, like you all know, I am a Cowboys fan. I'm mad when they lose, but I'm mad when they win. Like, I can't figure out, like, this year, it's just like, guys, we're basically giving ourselves, a not top 10 draft pick, but we're not going to make playoffs. So defense played well. It was the Panthers, but I just can't make myself happy no matter. It's just frustrating. It's just frustrating. That's all I'll say about the Dallas Cowboys. It's frustrating. Cooper Rush playing against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Sunday Night Football. We know Baker Mayfield is going to be going, dare I say, bombs over Baghdad. Can I say that? I'm going to say it. Looks good. Baker looks good. Absolutely torched the Chargers. Should torch the Cowboys, but Cooper Rush should have to throw the ball the whole entire game. So I don't hate Cooper Rush in this situation. He will probably be on my sleeper episode that I will be coming to you on Saturday, but that's only on YouTube at TFF Dudes. And also, give me a like, give me a sub. Remember, don't be rude, share the dudes. Really helps us out. Last quarterback on the list. He got benched today, but I believe in giving second, third, maybe fourth, fifth. I'll give unlimited chances to Jameis Winston. 41% rostered. Rivalry game, traveling to play the Cincinnati Bengals, who do not stop anyone, and they're a fun defense to pick on. Jameis Winston with Jerry Jeudy, maybe Njoku's back. This is another one where I think Jameis Winston's a good play here, guys. Like, if he's starting, as of right now, Sunday night, I believe they're going to keep going back to him. So I do like Jameis Winston in this spot, 41% rostered. It's a good spot. All right, so I had Aaron Rodgers, Cooper Rush, Jameis Winston. A list I did not think I would be giving, 10 weeks ago, but here we are. That's why you got to love fantasy football. Let's hand this off to the running backs next, guys. Remember, go over sleeper, promo code DUDES100 really helps us out. Go into the running backs, guys. There's some potential here to really help you out. I got Jerome Ford. 43% rostered on, going to the Bengals, another Browns player. I believe he had 17 fantasy points today versus the Chiefs. Filling in for Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb's out for season. Broken bone. Can't remember if it was an ankle or a foot. I believe it was a foot. Jerome Ford. This is playoff league winner-esque stuff. Okay? Jerome Ford, 43% rostered. Probably number one waiver wire ad at the moment, I would say, is Jerome Ford. Next running back, going over to Ty Johnson, 4% rostered. This is a flyer. This is a pylon prayers, what I like to say. 4% rostered, playing the Patriots, the Bills' new little brother that used to be their big brother. They're gonna put it on him. Bills running backs, they all look good. But Ty Johnson led the team in receiving yards. I don't think they will need to have Ty Johnson lead the team in receiving yards this week against the Bills, but crazier things have happened. This is a flyer, deep league. You need somebody. Garindo ends up getting hurt again or something like that. I'm thinking Garindo's going to be good because of the long week of rest. So, maybe this is just a spot. But I think if they take the lead, I think Ty Johnson still gets some carries. James Cook is the bell cow there. Ty Johnson will be involved. He is a great pass catcher. Has had big games through the air 2 weeks in a row. I like Ty Johnson. And then Sincere McCormick, who has not played yet, 48% rostered, playing the Jaguars. That's a great matchup for fantasy playoffs. And then some other, deep flyer, Keandre Miller, 16% rostered at the Green Bay Packers. Alvin Kamara got injured today, left the game, but he did make a nice touchdown catch. You got to appreciate a guy who leaves the game injured but already gave you a good fantasy performance. That really helps. So Keandre Miller, 16% rostered. And then Tajay Spears. Tony Pollard did get about 8 fantasy points and half PPR, so he didn't absolutely kill your team, but Tajay Spears just went absolutely bananas today. So monitor the Tony Pollard news, see how that goes. Tajay Spears might be a good add this week. Don't have enough information at the moment right now. Could finally be that running back 1A, 1B situation they told us about all offseason. It might officially be here. And if that's the case, add Tajay Spears and you can play him. And next week, who are the Titans playing? The Titans had a really good playoff matchup. Indianapolis Colts. It's a good matchup for Tajay Spears. All right, let's throw it over to the wide receivers, guys. And on this week's list again, we got Jalen McMillan. He looks good. Caught an early touchdown pass today. Baker trusts him. Mike Evans is not slowing down. With how good Mike Evans is playing, I think a lot more opportunities are going to be coming for Jalen McMillan. Add this guy, plug him in, play him. Playing at Dallas, you know they're going to be focusing on Mike Evans. Wide receiver 2 could be a really good spot here for a lot of work. Another guy will probably be on the sleeper episode, depending how much he gets rostered by after waiver day. All right, next wide receiver, what do I got here? I got Rashad Bateman, 27% rostered. Had some TDs today. The yards aren't there. The targets aren't really there. The catches, hit or miss. But Bateman does blow up every once in a while. They're playing the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's going to take all hands on deck. Lamar wants to be the MVP. People were talking about Lamar being the MVP for about, an hour with how good he did against the Giants. Then Josh Allen made him forget about all of that before halftime with, he have 2 rushing TDs before halftime. So Josh Allen took that talk away real quick. It was short-lived, but Lamar wants that MVP. He wants to win a Super Bowl more, but I think he's going to keep airing it out, and I think Rashad Bateman is a good play here. Steelers are tough, but they're going to need Bateman, and, they're playing for, that top seed still there over in Baltimore. Quentin Johnson, 56% rostered, led the team in targets today, playing the Denver Broncos, back-to-back games with double-digit fantasy points, back-to-back games with touchdowns. Quentin Johnson, it sounds gross, I understand, but you can play him in, deep leagues, or if you're just in a pinch with some injuries. Calvin, and then I got some Hail Mary plays here. Maybe you think all these are Hail Mary plays. Calvin Austin at Baltimore. I don't think George Pickens will be playing, which absolutely hurt my fantasy team today, not having George Pickens. It would have been nice to have George Pickens, 13% rostered. Baltimore, great matchup. 4 wide receivers every single week. Just keep doing it. And then another one, Tim Patrick, 6% rostered at Chicago. 3 TDs in 2 games. Maybe the playoff edition of Nick Westbrook-Akeen. Not sure. It's just a deep. But here's the deal. Lions coming off a loss, right? What does Dan Campbell usually do after a loss? He's going to get these guys fired up. He's going to make everybody forget about that stupid onside kick. He is going to run the score up on the Bears if he can. And that might be anyone catching a touchdown, like just spreading it out. Jared Goff, first QB to throw 5 TDs and no interceptions and lose a game. I think Lions go absolutely crazy this week. And I think Tim Patrick maybe gets another one just because of, Campbell wanting to, make people forget about that loss. Like, this Lions defense got beat up. They lost some injuries. The offense is still there. I think they get after it. And I wouldn't be surprised if Tim Patrick gets another touchdown here. All right, tight ends. Tight ends, I have Brenton Strange as my number 1 tight end waiver wire ad. I know what you're saying. Can you really trust a guy named Brenton? Can you really trust a guy with his last name Strange? I don't know. But here we go. Brenton Strange, 12 targets, 11 catches. Looks good. He's not Brian Thomas Jr., but he is someone that Mac Jones trusts and keeps throwing the ball to. So Brenton Strange, tight end is desolate. I like him here versus the Raiders. Next, Stone Smart. What a great name. That is a great name. As long as you're catching the ball, because then they're going to call you Stone Hands, which no one wants to be called at a skill position. But for the most part, Stone sounds like a good name. Stone sounds like somebody that you wouldn't want to meet in an alley. Stone also sounds like somebody that would probably pick on your kid in school or something else. Maybe Stone's not a good name. Don't go with Stone. All right. Led the Chargers in receiving yards, playing the Broncos here. Chargers are kind of in survival mode. They can't really run the ball without J.K. Dobbins. I think they got to start airing it out more. Lad McConkey looks good. Quentin Johnson's looking good. They got to bounce back. They got to figure something out, and I think it has to be through the air. It's not Gus Edwards, and it's not Badal. So I'm thinking, start throwing the ball. Maybe Stone's the guy. You got Herbert. Let Herbert just air it out, Harbaugh. Come on. You brought Judge Judy to the game. I know you do crazy things, Harbaugh. Judge Judy came to the game. Let Herbert throw the ball. You'd have just let Herbert throw the ball 50 times on Sunday wouldn't have been the craziest thing you did. Okay? Shout out Judge Judy. That was some good TV back in the day. All right. That is all my waiver wire ads. Now let's hop into the all dud list. The stuff that, probably why you're not playing fantasy football anymore, but you're just happy, and you like us, and you appreciate me, and you want to listen to the pod. You want to listen to episodes. So for that, I thank you. All duds list here, guys. It's terrible. It's bad. It's probably the reason maybe you won your fantasy league, why there were so many upsets. Number 1 on the list, going to quarterback. Tua, 6.8 fantasy points. Skinny Tua, not getting it done. He had 3 games in a row with at least 20 fantasy points. But when you needed him most, when you finally trusted him again, when you finally said, you know what, he doesn't need the Guardian cap because he's balling, goes out, gets you 6.8 fantasy points. And a must-win situation for the Dolphins and for your team. You can't have it, man. Absolutely terrible. He looked like a fish out of water. The poi pounder. Hopefully he's back better next year. 6.8 fantasy points. Handing off the running backs. Isaiah Pacheco, 5.2 fantasy points. Isaiah Pacheco, I thought this was a slam dunk play. A slam dunk play. Last week, you get fined $47,000. You get paid about $50-ish a game without taxes. You got fined $45,000 plus for a hit that wasn't even called in the game of you running out of bounds, putting your helmet into a guy. I thought you were going to run wild on Sunday, run mad. You go up there and you do 5.2 fantasy points. Absolutely blunder, terrible game. Maybe money's not an issue for you. I don't know. Bad game for Isaiah Pacheco. Next, the absolute backbreaker. The guy who carried you through the whole season. The guy who probably got you the number 1 seed. I'm going with Derrick Henry with 6.7 fantasy points. I said it on X. I didn't say it on the pod. I didn't say it on YouTube. Have you all heard that Bible story about Samson? Strongest guy ever. Slayed some Philistines with a donkey's jawbone. Goes out there, I'll give you the G version, decided he should get a haircut. Lost all his powers, no more strength. That is Samson in a nutshell. Derrick Henry, you cut that rat tail off, and now you go out there and get 6 fantasy points. We cannot have that. Figure it out. You got a big game this week. 6.7 fantasy points. Absolute worst time possible for Derrick Henry to absolutely let us down. I don't know if you can grow your hair back by Sunday, but it'd sure be nice if you could. Maybe there's some extensions or some kind of something you could do, but that would be great. Figure it out. Throwing it over to, this is where it gets bad. This is the worst duds list I think I've ever had. Absolute worst. Under 20 fantasy points for the whole position. And these are guys that are on playoff rosters. Cooper Kupp, 0 fantasy points. You've heard the saying, my cup floweth over? Yeah, there's a hole in the bottom, okay? Good news is if you had a bye with Cooper Kupp, he's bouncing back this week. He's going crazy, okay? Cooper Kupp, 0 fantasy points. Jalen Waddle, 0 fantasy points. I know he got hurt. People are saying, hey, he got injured. Not his fault. In playoffs, it doesn't matter. Okay? It doesn't matter. You let us down. 0 fantasy points. Go out there and be like Kamara. Get us some points and get hurt. Then this one. Makes 0 sense to me. Bills go out there and score 48 points. You would think Amari Cooper would get 1 measly target. You would think he'd get 1 catch. My sleeper of the week goes out there, does some, I don't even know if he did cardio, honestly. Maybe he didn't even play. I didn't see him. I'm watching Red Zone. No Amari Cooper sightings on Red Zone. You saw more Verizon commercials on Red Zone than Amari Cooper. There was 1 commercial on Red Zone. And the whole, internet almost broke over it. That's supposed to be commercial free, guys. But there was more commercials on Red Zone than Amari Cooper catches. So 0 fantasy points, Amari Cooper. This was a high-scoring game. Don't know where you were. I was hoping maybe that onside kick getting recovered for almost a touchdown was you, but it wasn't. So 0 fantasy points for Amari Cooper. Next, Tucker Kraft, 4.4 fantasy points. that's it, you know. And I had Romeo Doubs on here. I missed him, honestly, as a guy that you could add. But do you really, you know, the Packers, love just spreads it around so much. I will have more waivers on X, or if you want to sign up for my email at www.thefantasyfootballdudes.com. I will have a more updated waiver wire ad that will be sent out Tuesday at some time with more waivers, all that good stuff, guys. If you like this, give me a thumbs up. Really helps me out. If you didn't like the Samson analogy, I don't know what to tell you. It's a true story, and history does repeat itself. So, guys, I will see you on Thursday with our matchups. I will have Phil, Jordan, and Seth there. That'll be a fun one. As always, check out the Sleeper episode. Give me that sub on YouTube, guys. Really helps us out at TFF Dudes. Guys, good luck this week. Good luck on waivers. You know the drill. Hey, see you next time, guys. And as always, take care.
This has been another episode of the Fantasy Football Dudes podcast. Remember to rate, review, and follow. For more information, go to www.thefantasyfootballdudes.com. And remember, we are sorry for absolutely nothing.